Hi guys, I'm Beth. This is Remark. Today we're going to talk about The Need by Helen Phillips. So I just finished The Need by Helen Phillips and I need to talk about it. This book really grabbed me in a way that not a lot of books do. Kind of at a very personal level. So I just need to talk through it with you guys for a moment. So this is going to be more of a book analysis and less of an actual book review. If you have not read The Need by Helen Phillips yet, I implore you, please go ahead and stop the video now. I know that this is running counter to what my real objective here is. I want people to watch these videos and really get inspired and pick up a book because of it. But in this case, I want you to read the book first and then come to this video, because this is one for people who maybe you've read the book and it's still kind of lingering in your mind and you just need to talk about it. You need a book club. Let me be your online introverts version of a book club if you don't have one in your area or there's no one talking in person near you about The Need. Let's talk about it together, because I need to talk about it. So here's the review part. The book is very good. It's very good. It's very addicting. It starts off with a thrilling element. A mother is home alone with her two young children, a toddler and a baby. Her husband is away on business. She is a working mom, very tired, very exhausted. One night, there's an intruder in her house. It turns out the intruder knows an awful lot about her. All right, that's where I'm gonna leave the review. Very good book, very addicting. If you have not read it yet, go ahead and stop the video here, come back after you have, and let's talk about it some more. All right, guys, so I'm gonna assume that the rest of you that are still here are ones who have read the book. Let's talk about it a little bit. So I'm only going to gloss very briefly over the plot so that you know some context or get a quick refresher of what I'm talking about. So when the intruder takes off their mask, Molly, the mother, sees that it is in fact herself. For she is a paleobotanist and she works at this mysterious dig, which is it's unearthing some things that are regular but just a little bit off. Perhaps this thing is an alternate Molly. She says that she comes from that dig site and that her children, her versions of Viv and Ben, the toddler and the baby, had died in an explosion because she had unearthed a Bible that had a feminine pronoun in it. God was not a he, God was a she. So that's kind of almost not the point. That itself creates a very compelling plot point. I think that it would be very interesting to follow that supposition that what if God was in fact a female? But in this book, that's just a plot device, just a convenient plot device, because the real plot here is Molly and her alter ego Mal and this raising of the children. Mal, of course, wants to move in on Molly's life, take over the raising of the children. There are a lot of conflicting emotions that go on within Molly, and it really I think the part that really struck gold for me was the reminiscence of the emotions that I myself felt when my children were extra young. Just the bone deep fatigue. I understood where Molly in the story was coming from, where it's both the agony and the ecstasy of parenthood and how you love your children, you love them with everything that's in you, but at the same time, you just need a break. You need a break and some help. And so Mal in this story is both this horrific presence, because she threatens to take motherhood away from Molly. This alter ego threatens to move in on her territory. And at the same time, it's a much needed helping hand that she just doesn't have. Okay, so here's the thing that I was curious about from almost the beginning of the book and that I'm still curious about now is, was Mal a figment of Molly's imagination, or was she meant to be literal? Was she an actual person that came from the pit? Or was this part of Molly's postpartum psychosis? It makes me think of the movie Tully, another brilliant one from Diablo Cody, a writer who I really admire, which, another spoiler alert, centers around a woman who has this night nurse who comes in who turns out to be just a figment of her imagination that she needed just to get through the night with this new baby that she had. So I wonder if Moll is that same sort of equivalent for Molly, if she is this figment of her imagination, this alternate personality somehow that she slips into just to get through these endless days with her children and find that love that she has for them all over again. And I still, even at the end of the book, I still don't feel clear on it. This little subplot, this plot device of this bomber and the female pronoun in the Bible kind of stays present a little bit throughout the book, so that we know that it's still there, but it never really comes to fruition one way or the other. So that is a string that's left hanging. It's untied. It's never really wrapped up. We also never know whether Moll and Molly are one and the same, or if these are two literally separate people, and if they are two separate people, which one of them wins out in the end. And if it is a split personality kind of thing, which personality is it that wins out in the end? Did they meld into one? That's kind of my interpretation of it, was that Moll was just a figment of Molly's imagination through the whole thing. And then Moll kind of melding herself into Molly at the end wasn't necessarily one literal person killing another literal person. To me, it's a melding of the two personalities into one so that she can come back to herself, come back to her children, and be conscious all the time of what she is doing. Fascinating to think about. It's fascinating that Helen Phillips leaves this ambiguous for us to think about. As frustrated as I am about some of these loose ends that Helen Phillips leaves in the book, I think I would have been more frustrated had she tied them up neatly like a little bow. I think that would have diminished from the ambiguity and the uncertainty that you feel from the story of Moll and Molly and of motherhood and all of these exquisitely complex emotions that go along with it. Just a wonderful book. So what is your interpretation of the need? What do you think? Are Moll and Molly the same person? Are they two different people? Is this literally a thriller? Is it, as the book cover suggests, speculative fiction? Is it science fiction? Or is it more just a fictional book of a woman, a harried mother without enough help, who manages to split, who splits for a time just for the sake of self-preservation, and then later comes back to herself, but it takes a while to move through that? I don't know. Such a good book. So the moment I finished it, I was like, what? I've got to talk about this. Many thanks to both NetGalley and Simon & Schuster for providing me with an eGalley in exchange for an honest review, which obviously this is. I would love to know if you guys read it and what you think of the book. Both similar opinions of mine as well as separate ones, so that we can just have a real, true book talk and get to the bottom of our feelings about it. Thanks as always for watching. I really appreciate it, as always, and I will catch you next time. Bye.